You know, sometimes this life can get rough. You get knocked down, but you gotta get up. Keep going. I'd have been knocked down 1,000 times. Yeah, I traveled around 1,000 miles. Feeling so tired, but you know I can't stop now. Came way too far.
Hey everybody, this is Waywatcher with Rolling Until Ragnarok, and this is the first episode of our newest series, HARROW SPIRE. And man, I'm so excited. These are our 4 players. We've got, if y'all want to introduce yourselves, not your characters, just a little bit about you. Starting with Aaron.
Hi, I am, who all have I played? Thistle, Amethyst, Rhea, mainly, yes. That's me. What else am I supposed to say?
You're good. And then, I guess Feywild Field Guide or Nilla.
Yeah.
And she's kind of new with us. And that's awesome. And do you want to tell them where you actually have a bunch of social media if you want to tell them where to find you?
Feywild Field Guide.
Thumbs up, guys.
Of it anywhere.
And then we have Eli back for and Eli's not your real name, but I think everybody knows you as Eli at this point, or at least all of our fans do. So, but Phantom, man, if you want to tell them anything about you, I don't think you have a lot of social media, so I think that they would just talk to you through our Twitter. But anything else? Oh, and you can tell them who you've played in other stuff too if you want.
Eli and Rashek are the 2 biggest ones.
And Jathir.
And Jathir.
Yeah.
I'm either solving other people's problems or I am the problem.
I don't know. I think Jathir was like he was a great guy.
Yeah.
Jathir gets more blame amongst these people than any character has any right to.
Jathir was my favorite.
And we have Morgan the Mogul back with us, otherwise known as Bramble, for all of you who bother me about Bramble daily. I'm just saying. But anyway, Morgan, by all means, tell them where to find you and your stuff.
Yeah, you can always find me, on TikTok or anything like that, usually under Morgan the Mogul. And yeah, I play Bramble. I play the Great King Croxus and Mars number 2, I guess, Descara. So.
Oh, that's going to be such a fun series to put out later.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, I also want to talk about our presenting partner, Royal Caribbean's D20 Cruise Line. You can see it right on the screen. You can use the code WAYDUNGEON to get $50 off your tickets. It's at the end of April, going into May this year, but it'll be happening a lot more, and there's a ton of event cruises you can look through. Whether you like something from cosplay all the way to Dungeons & Dragons, they have event cruises going on all year. But if you get on this one, you can come play with us, because all of us are going to be there this year, and I will be one of the DMs presenting, and you can sign up and come and hang out with us and play within our world, and it's going to be a fuck ton of fun. So get on there, and if you do happen to do that, hit me up on Discord. I'm Waywatcher. I'm the only one, apparently, since that's all you have to do to type in to become a friend with me. God knows. And then I will happily hook you up with one of the Discord invites, and we can go hang out, and you can join our Ragnarok Discord. Whew, man. But let's introduce the world that we're playing in, because this is so different and something completely brand new. We are adventuring with the Knights of the Atelerix and Atelerix. Yeah, there you go. I said it right the second time.
Atelerix? Okay.
Yeah, Atelerix. And these are our squires and our handmaidens and our friends to the great knights. There are 4 of them. There is the leader of the knights, Dame Paprika, the Indomitable. She is the leader of these questing knights. And we have Sir Haddock the Brave, Sir Gravlax the Valiant, and Sir Sage the Bold. And each of these guys are playing either a squire or the cleric that came along, or our animal handler, since, as we know, questing knights have to have a retinue, a little entourage of people. They're the entourage. Currently, it's just after the Great Frostburn War ended. The land is at peace. We are in the land of Chesapeake, going into the. They're currently on a quest to go and apprehend a root of a special tree far off into the north, deep into the nomad land and into the mountains. And they're going to bring that back and hopefully create a whole new spice for trade from the land of Chesapeake. Lord Baltimore has sent them to go get the red root of the tree. And man, what a quest it is. Paprika has led them into the heart of the... Oh, what do we call it? It's the Valley of Teeth. It's a very mountainous, very... craggly passage that leads up into the mountains near where Lord HARROW has his ogres and goblins and just the neighboring kingdom. But since the war is over, peace has been going on, and while it is kind of a unstable treaty, it's one that has been there for a couple years now. You guys are traveling. It is, I would say that it's probably mid-morning, we'll say. Most of you have been awake for most of the day, since you guys are the ones that have to keep everything together and keep everything going. We have a mess of animals to talk about that are being tamed and kept up with here. We have our ox, the main one pulling everything. His name is Moose. We have a black elk named Juniper. And we have a gray elk named Thorn. The gray elk is kind of like a pack mule, nonetheless. But it also happens to be where our best little animal handler, Carambola, kind of resides throughout her nights and days when she does have to get off her feet. Miss Field Guide, would you like to introduce your character, Carambola, and just talk about what she would be doing mid-morning to keep our main three animals on trek?
Carambola is probably sneaking some of this feed she keeps separate from the normal animal feed in case someone decides they want to feed the animals. There's a public animal feed, and then there's the special feed she keeps separate as she's sneaking it to all of the animals, kind of whispering encouragement. I know we've been walking forever.
That's awesome. Could you describe what Carambola looks like, and I guess give us a little bit about, like, just, you know, what class she is and all that stuff.
Carambola, she's got this kind of thick, wavy, long white hair that you can just kind of see the points of her ears sticking out of sometimes when she moves her head just right, is how thick her hair is. With grayish silver eyes, and she's a druid. It's very clear she's a druid. She gets along with the animals. If you watch her for too long, you may see one of the hedgehogs stick their head out from the hair and then like, nah, I don't want to. And she speaks real soft to them, and she doesn't want them to be upset or tired. I know we're all tired. I would like for us to... We want to get there. We want to move along faster. Here, have this. I know you're not supposed to have it. I know it's not.
So, Moose, our oxen, I'm going to say this a couple times to make sure that I solidify it in my brain. He is the one that's probably been trekking the longest. And as you kind of get over to him and you're kind of doing the secret thing, you're the first role of the campaign. And let me tell you, the first role of the campaign is brought to us by Fanfiction Media. They are this really awesome YouTube and podcast thing about Destiny 2. You can go ahead and listen to them. You should look them up, Fanfiction Media, on Twitter. You can find all their links through there. But they do these little dramatic Destiny 2, not even reenactments, like completely new stories. And the last one they're just putting out is this like love story between this warlock and her friend, and it is really incredible. They're crazy awesome voice actors and actresses, and let me tell you, the narrator for that is just wonderful. And they happen to come in, and they've decided to throw in and sponsor the first role, and he said that because he's sponsoring it, you get advantage on your animal handling check.
Yay.
Let's go.
You gotta tell me what it was.
I got a 21
Whew.
because I rolled 2 16s.
That's awesome. So I would think that like Moose he's just tired at this point. Like it's been like a couple days worth of straight trekking because you're trying to get to a spot where it's safe to rest, and the Valley of Teeth is notoriously a place of large predators, and you have a whole mess of other animals that you were taking care of, not just the ones that are here, but you've got 2 hedgehogs, Briar and Barry, and 2 horses, Cayenne and Paprika's horse, Senor Ladle. And these are just like, the only one that is still going strong is Senor Ladle, because he's just an old horse that doesn't stop, let me tell you. And and you have to get through the teeth before real teeth find your animals. But I'd say that on a 21, he got him. He eats. He gets a little bit more excited, and off to the side, I think that probably the person that you know the best here, other than maybe your little group of people, you would see Sage. Kind of, he's the scout of the party, but he's always somehow like showing up when you're gonna feed the animals so that he could also feed the animals. Sage is a blue lizardman by race, but he is he's the lightest armored of all of our questing knights. And while he is very proficient and very good at being the full plate knight and going into battle as a Templar and doing all that stuff, Sage the Bold is much more comfortable in just rags and very light, easily moved leather, and just anything that he can kind of sprint off on and see what's going on up ahead. But I think he would show up right next to you while you're feeding and go, oh, have you tried some of it? Have they tried this? And he has his own little bag of berries that he's mushed up and made his own little stuff that he keeps giving to you for these different animals. And I think that he also happens to have this one little quirk that I don't know how Caraman Bowl feels about it, but he has a long snake tongue that just always comes out and seems to just get way too close to the tips of her ears while he's talking.
She kind of away from it. No, I haven't, because you keep it.
Oh, you should try it. And he kind of stumbles through his words, and then he realizes what he's doing. He goes, I'm so sorry. I just don't want everybody else to hear.
They're not going to hear you. They don't even notice I'm over here. They just think I'm feeding them.
That's what we're doing, right? We're feeding them. It's okay. Moose, he starts patting Moose down and hitting. And Moose, I don't think that Sage is really Moose's favorite. I think that he's a little bit more rough, and he has little the tips of his fingers are much more sharp than Moose would like. So I think that Moose kind of and like moves on a little bit harder every time Sage is around. But Sage, I think, is a little bit oblivious to all this. But while Moose does kind of like lurch forward a little bit harder, I think this is when we would find our largest of our squires and people and everybody else kind of getting jerked forward a little bit. This is where we meet Pepper. And Pepper, at this time, I think that you would be categorizing and organizing all of the different ointments and all the different stuff. I think you have this thing where you have to run through a list of making sure that everything is in the right place and doing the right thing. But because you're on top of this oxen named Moose and kind of going through all the stuff as he lurches forward, it all kind of like gotta keep it all in place. But please, Morgan, describe Pepper a little bit for us and just react to Moose kind of lurching forward a little bit faster than he has in the past couple days.
Okay, so Pepper is a Aricoca, I think is how it's pronounced.
Yeah, large bird.
Yeah, specifically. And so she's even large for a bird. She is 8 feet 4.2 inches. And that 0.2 is very important because she was 0.3, and it's proof that her slouching is working. Now, she also has like a large like red scarf and like hooded, cloak that she wears under her spiked armor, and she is so large, she is completely intimidating, right? And she came in with Sir Haddock. She fell and actually healed him for like just a shit ton of damage, and he decided to take her with him. And she wears like this basically giant spiked armor, and it's actually like put holes in her cloak because she originally put the cloak on so she wouldn't feel like less intimidating, I guess, if you will. But the spikes have now worn holes through her cloak, and so now the spikes show through her cloak, which further increases her intimidation. But she doesn't want to tell Sir Haddock that she doesn't like it because she doesn't want to hurt his feelings, and it was a gift, and she's got totally mixed feelings about all of it. And now this damn ox won't sit still. I just need him to sit still so I can finish counting down the list because everything has to be done. I have so much other stuff that has to be done. Not only do I need to count down all the materials, but I need to go back through all the spell work just to make sure everything is good, just to make sure I remember all the spells that needs to be happen, that I needed to have in place.
Perfect. I think that as you are starting to do everything and the oxen kind of like lurches forward, Sir Haddock, who is the newest of our questing knights, he joined fairly shortly after the Frostburn War, and he's also probably the one they know the least about. But he's this large golden eagle knight, and even on his chest he has his own house crest that is shown next to Paprika's house crest. It has this large raptor on it, this huge bird of prey. He's very proud of that, but he's also very proud to be questing with Paprika. She has one of the larger land farms in the region of Chesapeake. So the fact that she took him in and took you in, Pepper, was a huge thing. But he would look back and watch you kind of like mess with everything, and I think you'd get a good chuckle out of him as he kind of just walks along. He's fairly lighthearted normally. You haven't really been to like heavy battle with him yet. You really fell into him at the end of a large battle that he was very, very hurt in, but he was very impressed by what you did, like you said, and birds of a feather, it just kind of keeps it up. And upon meeting Paprika, and it just seemed like you fit really well, and he's just super excited to see you just get in there and get going. Not really knowing a ton more about you yet, but I think that as he kind of gets a chuckle in, he looks over to Paprika and her squire, everybody is kind of under Paprika, but her her personal squire that is on this thing. And you all, I think that she would be in the middle of talking to you, Shallot, about your best friend back home, Okra, who has a broken leg, and he's not able to come on this little quest with you guys. But you guys had left him, I would say, about a week ago. It's been a week of travel. And she'd look down, and Paprika has this way of talking that I think is more bold, and it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's a little bit but that being said, it's not so spicy as to burn your mouth or your tongue, but it is a nice straightforward flavor of speak. And so she thinks she'd look down and say, she's in the middle of talking to you, Shallot, and she goes, it's Okra's gonna stay in the house, right? Like I know that he's not the smartest of all of the orcs, but he's not gonna run off with a broken leg and get in trouble.
I mean, Okra, we can never really count on where he's gonna be and when he's supposed to be, but hopefully the pain should keep him in place. That's what I'm kind of betting on.
Well, let me tell you, Shallot, if the pain doesn't keep him in place this time, the pain later is going to keep him in place when I get home. Shallot, please describe your character, though.
I tried to explain that to him, Dame Paprika. I really, really did. But Shallot is a little... the antithesis to Pepper. She is a 3.5 foot tall halfling. Probably about maybe 50 pounds soaking wet, we're hoping. She has blonde hair. She usually either keeps it braided or she has it in little buns on top of her head. But because she spends so much time running around trying to take care of Paprika, since she is her squire, she's responsible for making sure her armor gets cleaned, making sure all of her food is delivered to her at the proper time. She constantly has like little tufts, I would imagine, sticking out just in different places because she looks so scattered, trying to make sure that she does a good job. This is something that ever since her and her mom, Vidalia, fought together in the Frostburn War after her mother, Vidalia, passed, Paprika basically raised Shallot. So she wants to make sure that she does what she needs to do, is a good squire, and is always on top of everything, almost to a perfectionist, you guys kind of worry about her a little bit kind of manner. But yeah, halfling, blonde hair, blue eyes.
Yeah, I think that at you calling her Dame again, Paprika would just put her hand out and say, "It's just Paprika, Shallot. It's okay."
Are you sure? It could be my lady, ma'am, sir. I can do any of it.
We'll just go with Paprika. It'll be okay. I don't need. We're out together. We're not in public. When you announce me, please, Dame, perfect, Lord, maybe even Dame is kind of a silly word. But yes.
So Lord... not the Indomitable. We're not adding the Indomitable leader.
Oh, I mean,
Atelerix.
And she kind of there's
Fields. I've got it all written down.
Roll insight.
19.
Wow. I think that she would, while she's tempering you from using all of these titles or these words, there's a hint of she kind of really does like it though. But she, it's like she earned them and she's very proud of her title. But amongst us, we're just people together. It's okay.
Oh, okay. Yep. I will make sure to add that to my notes. When it's just you and me, it'll be different.
Right. And she kind of looks around, pats Senor Ladle a couple times and moves around him. This is we're starting to get to a clear flat top, and she's looking for Sage to see if she can't get some information from what was up ahead from him. She'd look at, she doesn't see him anywhere. He's nowhere to be seen like normal. And I think she'd kind of nod to you, and you completely know what that nod means. It's time for you to run off and find Sage.
And she would imagine darting her way almost between the legs of the horses or wherever she needs to go to so she can beeline it.
Awesome. Go ahead and roll perception. No, investigation. while we move on to the two bringing up the rear. And it's an interesting thought because Sir Gravlax is the person who's been with Dame Paprika the longest, while Sage has this idea that he has a title that he earned privately in the war and really like brought himself to great heights. We have Sir Gravlax the Valiant, who has his title for having served Paprika through just their travels there together when they were at the same rank, and he is the one who decided he didn't want to become a lord. He wanted to stay the second in command, the person that really keeps everything together, kind of the glue of everything. And he is this he's a green-skinned hobgoblin, but hobgoblin nonetheless. Taller than, I would say he's taller than most hobgoblins, but still short when it comes to like a humanoid. And he kind of is bringing up the rear with his personal squire, Wilbur. And you guys are a good like 15-20 minutes back, just kind of making sure that nobody's going to approach from the rear. Nobody's gonna, nothing's gonna come in behind and like there's no predators kind of like, stalking in the background. There's no stragglers if you guys are the stragglers. And the whole way through, I think that one of the things that most people don't know you all do, and is Gravlax likes to test you because you are just such a interesting thing to him. Having his his own personal sorcerer is so new, and the idea that he has access to this magic that he just thinks is so just off-putting, but also kind of fun. So he every once in a while is like, "Well, can you hurt that rock? Can you make that rock go away? Are you able to hit that leaf?" Like he's just like pointing at stuff and seeing what you can do, and I think it's more like a parlor trick for him than anything else, but it gives you the ability to test out and kind of practice. But Wilbur, please describe your character, and why don't you toss me off a spell and roll to hit a rock? You have to unmute yourself.
Okay, well, Wilbur is about 6'2", so kind of in the middle. He is a gray-furred firbolg, and he'd be riding along just next to Gravlax, and he's just kind of yawning, just indulging his night in any way he possibly can, but he's just kind of half present at the moment. You said you want me to fire off a spell?
Yeah, just or he's like pointing at things, but I think you all come to like a bigger boulder, and he's like, do something to that.
Okay, I will. I actually have the perfect thing for that. I will, just to show off and really like, I'll go ahead and I'll spend a spell slot just to show off. And I'm going to use Stone Blast, so I can just pick up a large group of rocks from a space and throw them about 30 feet. So I'm just going to, whatever rock or boulders he pointed to, are just going to levitate up off the ground and then just kind of crash into each other and explode.
Has he seen you do this specific thing before?
Probably on a smaller scale, but nothing quite this show-offy.
Nice. Yeah, Gravlax would be like, like clap his hands and be like, man, I hope we get to kill something soon. I want to see you attack it. This is so much fun. And he looks around and goes, it's been a really boring week, I think. I think that of all of our knights, Gravlax is the one that really likes the battle the most. But looking, and which is, again, one of the reasons he didn't want to take a lordship. He really just wants to be somewhere doing something getting more titles, doing some kind of thing that will get him more fame. He's more, if he's not going to die in battle, he's just going to wither away and disappear. And this is just him. But you having to follow suit with him really works because, you're always trying to do so. While you are the most tired one, you are also probably always on the move with him, and it's just become a thing. And he kind of look down at you and go, "You haven't seen anything. I mean, we haven't seen anything. We've just been walking for. Let's catch up with them and tell them that it's time to rest, though."
I mean, I've seen all the trees.
Yeah, trees and rocks, sand.
I hate sand.
I don't know if we're allowed to hate sand. Are we allowed to hate sand? I guess you can hate whatever you want. Maybe not tell Lord Baltimore you hate sand.
Lord Baltimore doesn't have fur. He doesn't get it.
Yeah, he is rather shaven. He's like, "Come on, let's catch up to them," and just you guys would have to push on forward a little bit harder to try and catch up to everybody.
I actually have to sit up straight. Sure.
Yeah, and you guys will bring Cayenne up to the front with everybody. Let's go to Shallot. Shallot, what did you roll for your investigation?
That was a whole 8.
Yeah, I think that you'd make a whole loop around the caravan or not the caravan, like the little grouping of animals, and I think that you'd have to report back that you don't know where Sage is.
Ma'am, no, wait. She would look around and see if anybody's standing around because she's still unsure, like, if it's just us two or wasn't there other people around that I don't have to call her ma'am. I'm gonna nail that down eventually, but Paprika, I'm not sure. I wasn't able to find him.
Oh, he's missing again. That's okay. Oh God, let's do the thing. And she leans up and puts her hand up and whistles. And almost at the exact moment the whistle goes off, Sage is behind you guys, and he's like, and he just kind of leans in and goes, "Oh, Paprika, yes." And as he says yes, his little tongue kind of hits your ear a little bit, Shallot.
Yes.
He's also
sir.
very much in your bubble.
Yes, sir, we were Dame Paprika was looking for you.
And he puts his arm on your completely leans on you while he's walking because you are so much shorter than him, and he has no he has no concept of personal space. But he cocks his head and looks over. You can feel some of his jowls on the top of your hair as he talks, kind of just moving because he's got the lizard man the stretchy skin where he speaks, and you can feel his voice box kind of vibrate while he's talking on the top of your head.
Yeah, in her mind, she's like, "Grin and bear it. This is all part of the job. This is what I signed up for, I think."
But while they talk about various what's been around, what he's seen, she also kind of sees you, and Paprika swats him away. Oh my gosh, Sage, get off this, get off her. You can't lean on people just because they're shorter than you, Sage. And I think that Sage would step back and stand straight up, and you'd realize that he is probably the tallest of the knights. When he's straight up though, but normally he's curled over and kind of moving around like a darting lizard would. So he never really seems like he's super tall, but he's a good 6.5 feet tall. He stands just slightly higher than our golden eagle knight here, and that's only from the tip of his little maned head all the way down to his lizardy feet. But he starts to explain that this is probably the last overpass that you're going to be on for a good while. He ran up ahead and came back, and The rest of the way is just cavernous, and you're basically cutting through a valley. And there is some water come up ahead, though, so you can make a fresh water run. This might be a good place to stop. And so Paprika would stop and say, "Okay, round everybody up. We're going to stay here just for a night, one night, and then we're going to keep going forward. We need to get out of this place." And
I feel like Shallot would find like a little box somewhere, and she would just kind of stand on it and be like, "We're stopping here. We're gonna have camp for the night."
That's on Carambola, actually. We're gonna need a pretty strong animal handling check to see how many of them you're able to stop before they can before somebody else has to help. But let's see how good you can do this. Let's start with Ox or let's start with Moose and Juniper.
I love Moose.
Gonna be great. It's gonna do fine. We're gonna stop. We're finally stopping. That is a 19.
Moose is stopping.
The second you like try and calm Moose, this everything stops. Just everything on top of Moose shakes. I would say Pepper, you pretty much get thrown about a little bit. All the bottles and all the little like plastics and all the glassware kind of shakes as Moose stops and then collapses immediately into the ground.
It's not my fault. We've been walking for a while. It's not me. I'm not that heavy. Like she's.
Oh no, you're of course not. Moose had a machine right here, buddy. Carambola.
Trying to unhook him from the harness. Come on, Moose.
It is so funny because Moose is really pulling this cart that, while it is big enough for Pepper and all the stuff, it's still a smaller cart. Like, you guys don't have this big caravan. Like, you sleep outside. If it was to rain, you always would have to put up a makeshift like bunker. Like, this is like all the animals would get wet if it rains. Luckily, it doesn't rain often in these cliffs. So like, this is just a thing. Like, you guys are trying to make do. You have a bunch of these like bedrolls that you could use as like a overhead, but again, there's no rain that you can tell. Wilbur, it is your job to keep track of all that, though, so why don't you go ahead and give me a survival check, buddy?
Okay. Let's see. That's a 16.
Y'all have these negative ones and shit, and y'all are rolling above 15s every single dice. This is hilarious. I just want to let y'all know. Like, when I say dice tell a story...
We are professional squires, sir.
I'm just saying, y'all, dice tell a story, y'all killing it. I'm so proud of you.
My minus one. Mm-hmm.
I may be lazy, but I'm good at my job.
Right. No, you look up, clear night. The one thing that I can say that you would know, though, with your survival check is that since it is so clear and there aren't a lot of clouds around, you know that it's going to be a brighter night. So anything that is able to stalk you or anything that is nocturnal, it's going to be able to find you a lot quicker. Especially if, but that would mean that it's pretty safe to have a fire going because it's going to be bright either way because of the moon, or the two moons that are up there. And so... there you are. Maybe collect something to make the fire, and y'all catch on up. So, I think that as Gravlax and you catch up, and Gravlax has a couple of these big wooden boards, and you have whatever you're carrying.
I'd probably just have a whole log under one arm.
There you go.
We'll break it up wherever we're at.
Yeah. As you catch up, though, I would say that Cayenne, like, having been the one that like got to like sit back with you guys and kind of take its time, Cayenne still has like enough energy that it wants to like move around. So while all the other horses and everybody else has collapsed, Cayenne's just been like really hanging out with you guys in the back, and it just starts kind of trotting around and looking at stuff and trying to eat like little pieces of grass here and there and doing his own thing. I don't know if anybody's ever seen horses that like are being mischievous, but Cayenne would like kind of go up to some of the wood and put his teeth on it and start like pulling at the wood around some of this stuff. Carambola, it's your job to stop. So what are we doing here?
That is not a chew toy. Do not chew on that. It is bad for your digestion. It will get stuck in your throat. You'll have to cough it up. It'll be gross. Pepper won't like it. There will be a mess everywhere.
Kind of gives you the, but
Yeah, I
somehow
know.
it like you and Cayenne have like this little thing going on. Give me a persuasion check with advantage.
Is that because I'm also going to try and give it food?
It's because it knows you have food.
That is a whole 9.
Oh yes, the second you start talking to it without it listening, it's just going through your hands. It's like pushing its nose into your bag, trying to figure out where the food is that you have.
Yes, and she's gonna open the bag just so it can eat directly out of this little pouch of feed.
Yep.
Because she's used to this horse trying to find the food in her pockets.
Yep, full horse head, like it was some kind of dog, just pushed into there. Paprika is looking around. She looks kind of satisfied with everything. I'd say Haddock is probably sitting off, like, you guys are on this like overlook ledge. Think like it's big enough for everything to like kind of circle up, and you have enough like, you know, like a good 60 feet of space before you get to like the drop off, but you can like look down and see some of the like water and like the river that cuts through the bottom of the valley. It's not a huge drop. You could like slide down over to where the water is, but it would be a good like, if you in the middle of the night, if you happen to trip and fall over this, it would hurt you but not kill you type of thing, unless you were super unlucky. I don't know, that's just people. And you guys are just, and it's just, you know, it's like the early afternoon. It's not evening yet. It's just kind of everybody has to make camp. You kind of got to get your bedrolls out and trying to figure out what's going on. And the knights themselves, they kind of like, all of the knights kind of like form up, and they do this thing. It's not a clique type of thing, but it's like they're gonna talk amongst themselves, and while you guys just kind of take care of everything. And every once in a while you'd see like Sage kind of dart off, but I think that in the middle of everything, Paprika would kind of like look up and just give Shallot a nod. And Shallot, you exactly know what this means, and this means that you need to get some people together and go get some water.
She would try to round up our little gang here. She would look down for Wilbur and Pepper and Caramel and be like, "All right, guys, it's that time again. We're gonna go get water." Aren't y'all excited? I brought each of y'all's buckets, designated buckets. I have one for each one of you.
Oh, good. You know, like take the bucket. And she's like, also, when we get back, I need to go over all the supply list with you, because there's a few things that I think we need to change, and there's a few things that I think we need to add in, and there's a whole list of other things. And it was really hard just because Moose was moving, but there are additional supplies that I think we also need to gather.
Yes,
Yeah,
150%. Yes, I love your dedication. I will squeeze that in between setting up Dame Paprika's tent, and we'll make it happen.
I appreciate it. Thank you. It's gonna like, you're gonna see like, you know, bend over like really low, and so she so
You kind of like stand up on her toes and be like, "Yeah."
Okay.
All right. Well, let's keep going. This is,
I know you're not excited about this, Wilbur, but we have to do it. It's very important as part of our training.
water's also very much a part of supplies.
Yes.
okay.
The the path down to water. I'm sorry. That was so good. It just made me laugh. The pathway down to the water, unless you were to fly, is like this. It's like a good 15-20 minute walk. And you kind of go down and have to make a little U-turn and come down again. And the river that cuts through isn't a fast one. It's not. It's deep in the middle. You wouldn't be able to cross it by foot, but it's clean. It's really good looking water. There's not really many rapids, but it is moving constantly. You could probably fill up the buckets, and I think you're probably looking at like 2 or 3 trips up and back, each of you, except for maybe Caramobola, who after she gets a couple or 2 of these trips in, she'd probably have to stay and keep the animals like focused on what they're doing. I think that on like the way down though, out of Kara's hair, you'd see one of the hedgehogs like put its head out and like look around and realize that like you guys are getting closer to like water, and it would start to like, it would like turn to her and be like, and like you completely understand Kara. He's like goes into your hair and comes back, has his own like little bucket that he's made, that he's like yes, I would like water too.
I know. I will get you. Could you maybe not spill it on me this time?
It just gives you like a, I would never look.
Yes, you would, and you have.
I think this is probably Barry. Briar, I think, probably lives somewhere in your elk thorn stuff. But Briar has their own little like intense setup that like you would think they're all little people and like going on. But Barry is the more adventurous of the two and kind of making through. Let's see. Who's the first one down? God knows it's probably Shallot, but is anybody...
Like, I feel like the whole way we would be going, Shallot would, of course, have her, like, bucket on her arm, like, in the crook of her elbow, and she would have her mace in one hand, shield in the other, just to make sure nothing happens to anyone.
Okay.
Are you gonna fight the river?
We always need to be prepared, Wilbur. You never know what could happen.
Exactly. I feel like Pepper would be in the back, like she'd be too afraid to be in front of everybody, because then they would like really notice how tall she was. Like they don't know how tall she is from behind.
Give me a perception check, Shallot.
Okay.
And then I guess Caramel Bowl, give me a nature check.
That's a 6.
Pretty good water.
A 9.
It's moving water. Y'all are on top of things here.
Really, really killing it.
Cool. It's like the second trip. You guys have gone up. You brought some water to the first people that get it. Obviously, the knights. You have to go back now and get all the animals water. Then you can come back and get your own self some water afterwards. Except for Wilbur, who probably Gravlax just shares water with Wilbur, because Wilbur and Gravlax are like somehow more buddy than anybody else here.
Actually, on that note, I have a spell, water spell. I'm just making our own water. I'm just filling up 3 buckets with magic.
I feel you. Okay, so then, are you going back?
Like,
Are you going up and down?
harder.
Are you going up and down, or are you staying up there?
I'm carrying an empty bucket down, and then an empty bucket back up, and then filling it back up just before I get back out of sight, so it looks like I carried a bucket up the hill.
There you go.
Pepper would like to know how clean your hands are in terms of using magic to fill the buckets, because for obvious sanitary reasons, I don't think that's a great idea. At least with the flowing water, we know for sure, right? And I mean,
What I
You guys have never noticed before now. It's fine.
putting the bucket in the, like, did you make an action to do that?
Did I hold the bucket into the river? Yeah. I just didn't come up with any water.
Oh man, give me a sleight of hand. Give me a sleight of hand versus her perception.
He was washing the bucket out.
Yeah, the bucket's very clean. But
I
I'm
know
also
because
just-
I make
I
sure
also
they're
don't-
very clean.
Sure. Yep, we'll go with that.
Wilbur Po Boy gets away with it. Let me tell you.
You know, Wilbur, you are so
you guys-
helpful to have on all of these little adventures. I know you don't want to participate, but I like having you here. Thank you.
Everyone's got to do their part.
Yeah, man. And I appreciate you most of all.
I can write you up a checklist of all your things that you need to make sure that you do. Just, you know what? That's a really good idea. Maybe I should do that for everybody so that there's a very clear distinction of all of the tasks and chores that should be done.
Oh no, 100%. I would say Shallot already has Pepper make one up for her. That is like a regular thing.
Sure will.
Check.
Moose ate mine.
Moose. on the second way down, right after, I would say that during this little talk, you are standing. Shallot, you haven't gotten your second bucket of water yet, but Wilbur has just got his second bucket of water.
Mm-hmm.
Sure did.
And he's turning, he's starting to walk away, and you're stopped at the very like your feet are kind of in the water a little bit, Shallot, as you're holding the bucket and explaining to him how helpful and how wonderful he is to have in this. And Shallot, though you are always really high strung and kind of on guard, give me that dexterity saving throw.
Is this being frightened or poisoned?
Nope, it's being attacked by a crocodile.
Can I give her guidance? Right, we just had a discussion about the list, so can I give her guidance?
Yeah, go ahead. You're looking at her.
D4?
Yeah, D4, I believe. So
that is a whole 15.
That's beautiful. I just wanted something above a 12. So you're sitting there, and as you're talking, I would say that Pepper would catch it first as you see these eyes, and it's almost like this crocodile is moving downstream. Like this is like something, it's almost out of place. Like, why would it be here? But this is what's called a rock gorger, and it is a very particular type of crocodile that moves with the current and happens to like break when it has to get off. It breaks some of the side and like kind of burrows into the side of the canyon. And they're not really big, but they're I'm trying to think of how to explain. They're like the size of caimans. So it's not a big crocodile. It's a little crocodile, but it's got like a big old armored piece on the front of its snout that it uses to like break things. And because you're putting your bucket in, it's trying to catch your bucket with its snout and pull you in, because if it can pull you in, then it might be able to get you. But Pepper, by all means, please tell me how you alert her to this.
So I feel like I'd be in the middle of an explanation, right, about obviously the importance of clean water and things like that. And then I feel like I would see something, obviously just having talked about clean water, and kind of give like this quizzical look, right, like 2 giant eyes or something, be like, is this... Did she kind of do this kind of, sudden... and I guess Shallot, like, looking at her, like, I don't feel like she would voice it, but I just feel like she'd have, like, this shudder almost, and
I feel like Shallot would just, like, react, like, in that ultimate instance and just, like, throw herself in front of Pepper, like, that's gonna do something. 3.5 feet of her. But she would throw her shield up and be like, absolutely not.
Just all of this water is all splashing. I think Carambola and Wilbur, you guys are like on the little path to go back up, and you look over and it looks like they're just splashing water at each other. Like, it looks like they're just playing in the water, because you don't see this like this small little rock gorger that goes past, and it just happens to go past, and she's like jumping and like throwing water, and it looks like they're just splashing water.
Oh my Shallot, you saved me, thank you. Like,
I'm always here for you. I will always protect you.
As long as y'all are having a good time.
You're gonna see Carambola turn around as if she's looking up the hill, and she's gonna turn back, and glance at them and be like, "Oh, Dame Paprika."
Did she see me? How valiant I was with my shield?
How valiant you were splashing water.
There was an actual threat. Pepper, tell them there was an actual threat.
Yes, it was
I'm
a
gonna
very...
look over the
It was terrifying.
It was
Very
a 15-foot long crocodile.
All I
Fairly
saw
surprised.
was you fighting the water exactly like I said you were going to.
Did you say I was gonna fight the water?
When you came down to the water holding your weapon like something was going to happen.
I said to be prepared for anything, and I was prepared with the giant 15-foot long crocodile that was just here.
If you say so.
I do.
All I see is water.
Well, I mean, you guys were up on the hill. And so I would like to make this point that technically where you were in your eye placement, you probably wouldn't have been able to see exactly everything we saw as like people right here in front of the water. And just the sheer angle that you were at, prevented you from being able to see that. But I can definitely assure you that there was a giant crocodile and that Charlotte saved us both from it. I stand corrected on maybe exactly how clean the water is. I will totally admit that. However, it's our only current source of water. Shallot.
Yeah, I mean, as a paladin, I don't lie. That's one of my tenets. I can't. I always tell the truth. Also, the water is a very good point. Clean water.
Gonna lean over to Wilbur. If there's a crocodile in the water, that why were they worried about your hands?
Don't. It's fine.
So you guys get the water. You guys got your water. Wilbur, you got yourself taken care of. You get back up top. They've made a fire, and it is like it's way bigger than it probably should be. There's no reason for this fire to be the way it is. But you just see Paprika kind of sitting there, and she's just throwing more logs into this fire. It's just this large pile of unwieldy sticks. One of the logs like rolling out. It's on fire, just kind of rolling down the hill. And she's just looking at it, and she's just like, it's fine. It'll hit the water. Like, she's just... It's odd how, like, carefree she is in certain instances until there's time to not be carefree, and then she's, like, such a hard ass with certain things. But she's just kind of chilling and doing her thing. And I think that Haddock would kind of look over, and he would, like, walk over to where Moose is and where Pepper is. Pepper, do you have everything you need? Are you good?
Sir, yes, sir. I have everything. Everything is great. I have your checklist as well. I've done everything on it. Yes, everything is great.
Relax. You're great. You're doing great. This is not needed. Breathe with me. It's okay. And he kind of gives you a nod, and I think that, like, you and Haddock have this, like, really weird, like, you both are kind of anxious around each other in the terms of, like, he does not know how to deal with people, and, like, he's not a people person, and you are just an anxious person, and he's like, you're his first like attachment, period. Like, he doesn't have a family, he doesn't have like people, he doesn't have birds that he hangs out with. This is like a predatory, like, he's a bird of prey that's normally alone. This is a lone wolf that is like taking you on as an assistant, and he's like, and he doesn't know how to deal with anxious people. He doesn't know how to deal with any of this. He's just like, okay, and like, and then he also has this habit of just disappearing for like days at a time and then showing back up, and it's just, I think it probably would make you way more anxious than it should and way more worried. But it's like whenever you're just about to get into like severe panic mode that he's just left you, he shows back up with something else, and And he's like, no, I was just off doing blah, blah, blah. And you're like, you should tell me. And this is just something that doesn't dawn on him.
Exactly. I would make another list so that I could be more prepared for when you are going to disappear for a few days in a row. You know, everything will be perfect, sir.
It's been better than my thoughts. You're doing so good. I don't feel like we need to worry about anything. Just stop. It's okay. Don't stop. I mean, no, keep doing your job. Don't stop. Oh, I'm gonna go and work on the fire.
Excellent, sir.
Yep, that was the alarm. I've got to go work on the fire. And he just turns around and walks off. And he sits down in front of the fire and he just stares at it. He's not doing anything to this
I feel
fire.
like Piper would turn around and be like, yes, he thinks we're doing a great job. And she's gonna like go over his list again just to like make sure. She's like, okay, armor's clean. He's got additional supplies. I know he likes his meat a very certain way. You know, his sword is puffed. Okay, yes.
I think as you're doing this, Briar is there. And as you do the yes, Briar's like does a little yes with you, like mimicking you. And then it would run back into its little nest on top of a thorn and then bring you back like a blueberry and like offer it to you.
Pepper would definitely take it. Just like there's something that's not terrified of her, you know, and that means so much to her. Just
roll animal handling, yo.
I felt like we were having a moment.
We are. It's I promise it's gonna be good either way. I have a funny thing to do.
That is a 5.
So I think that like it holds it up, and you're not used to like grabbing things that small. So you pick up the whole hedgehog and blueberry, and it like looks at you, and it doesn't know what to do, so it just puts it in your beak. Just
That'd be all like I'd open my beak like really wide, be like, I'm like,
just drops it. I think looking around Cameron Bowl, you look over and she's just holding up this hedgehog, and it's just dropping a blueberry into her beak. And so it looks like it's just this bearded vulture opening its mouth as she holds this hedgehog up. And if you didn't know her better at all, you would think she's about to eat this hedgehog.
Why?
And then I think that the second the blueberry gets dropped, Briar's like just like jumps and like rolls around, like goes in between some of the spikes and just like nestles into like your shoulder and is now just on you for the day.
love it.
Okay, everybody's doing something specific. Wilbur is bringing Gravlax water. I think Gravlax would be like, and like specifically ask Wilbur his thoughts about staying here for the night or letting them just rest and then pushing forward. Because you and Gravlax have been fine. You're chilling. Like in the back, you took your time to get here. You're not tired at all. Everybody else is like beat. But you and Gravlax and Cayenne are just like, it's been a great trip so far. But Gravlax is trying to talk them into just like resting for a couple hours, then pushing forward. Nobody slept in like 2 days. I want you to understand. You guys took a nap. This is why you're good. Everybody else, 2 days worth of marching. And Paprika's like, Gravlax, we're not moving on. And he goes, what are you talking about? Everybody's fine. Wilbur, you're doing great, aren't you?
I feel fine.
See? I mean, Paprika, everybody's fine. And I think Paprika would look at you, Wilbur, and just be like, "You're not tired? Have you slept at all?"
I find time.
Who finds time during? And she looks around, and as you all look around, you'd realize that other than Cayenne, all the animals are like laid out. Like if a predator came through here, they would not get up. Like, this is like, they're so done. Like, Moose, I think Moose is probably like asleep. He's not even drinking water. His tongue is just in the water bucket and he's asleep. And like, he's done, down for the count.
Oh.
Poor oxen. And oxen take a while to get tired. I need y'all to understand. They're built, they're, you know, animals of burden. That being said, Shallot, the last task you have of the day is doing your perimeter check with Sage, since Paprika has you work with everybody.
Yeah.
So I guess your first job is to go find Sage.
Bless this man. She was like, the last time I tried running around, that didn't work. Maybe I can try the whistle thing that Paprika did and see if he shows up.
Sounds great. Roll performance. Can you whistle?
Nope, that's a 3.
So I think that you know what it looks like. It's one of these, you know what I mean? And you're like, okay, I think she can, you know, and like, so, and you
remember you told me to like loosen the lips, but my lips are always so like pursed. I imagine it would just be like,
yeah, and there's just nothing happens. So how are you gonna find Sage? What's your plan here?
I guess I would just try to do like a quick little dash around so that way I could see if I could find him.
Give me that investigation check.
It's even gonna be worse. Yeah, that's a 6.
I think that you dash around and you don't find him, but you would hear Paprika's voice get just a little bit stern and louder, and she goes, as she, you know, yells, "Sun's not gonna be up forever. You doing that? You doing that check? You gonna go ahead and do the thing?"
I'm gonna definitely. I'm doing the thing. And she would try to remember, like, okay, maybe he sometimes likes to go see the animals, so let me walk over and see if maybe he's near.
So while you're thinking, you just hear her go, perimeter, Shallot. So
perimeter.
You're starting to walk towards the animal, and you just hear yell perimeter. So I think it's, are you gonna try and quickly check the animals, or are you gonna run? Are you gonna run to your perimeter check?
I guess if I can't find him, she would go do what she told her to do.
Okay, so you run off to do the perimeter check, and so what this consists of is I need you to do a nature check, a survival check, and then an investigation check on advantage.
So let's see, we'll do nature.
Because she's doing a perimeter check and this happens often, could I cast guard on Shallot?
What does that do?
Yeah, what's it do?
What does that do?
So guard, you shroud yourself or a creature that you touch in a magical ward that has 1d6 hit points and lasts until the end of your next turn. If the target would take damage before the spell ends, the ward blocks and takes the damage instead. This ward cannot block psychic or poison damage unless it's dealt by an attack. If the ward is reduced to 0 hit points, the target takes any remaining damage.
Oh yeah, by all means.
So I get 1d6, what, temporary hit points? Or
yeah, if you need it.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have to roll that?
What does that look like? How do you explain how you cast your magic?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I feel like she has a quarterstaff or something like that. So I feel like Pepper would take a deep breath, like, oh, you've done this a million times. This is a nightly routine. Like, she kind of slowly talk herself into building up a little confidence, and she's like, you're a great friend and a good protector. And so she's gonna be like, and kind of do this push, right? Of her good feeling that she has towards Shallot, and she's gonna be and then just cast guard, right? And hope it that good feeling transfers over to get the guard. Because I feel like she hasn't quite got the whole spell words and stuff together, but she can transfer that good feeling of.
I love it. I love it so much. It's perfect. Yeah, Shallot, you feel bolstered. You can feel that you're being protected by your friend. Nature wise, you're running around, you're looking over the overhang, you're kind of going up into the trees a little bit. You're going up the hill a little bit because you guys are next to this like large, almost like think like a 60-degree up climb. What was your nature check?
2.
Yeah, I mean nothing looks out of place. You're kind of, I think that like you would exaggerate how tall this cliff is that you are having to walk up, because in your mind you're now like climbing and like it's this rigorous, like you've gone up a mountain, but like on a 2 really you just kind of walked up a hill and walked back down it. But what was your survival check? This is the most important one, to be honest.
Well, that's great because that one was an 18.
Okay, great. On an 18, you can see that like you have a really good perimeter here. Like Sage did a good job scouting an area out for you all to stay at. You have nothing can really approach you from the south, because that's like where you would go down towards the river, and it's a pretty hard trek upwards. Like you'd hear something coming up, and all the animals would have time to back up into some of the trees to like hide if they had to. And you have enough trees around that any of the fire isn't going to show for distance, and anything that would be coming from where you came from, I mean, friggin' Gravlax and Wilbur surely would have caught them since they sat back a while. So anything that was going to come for you would have to come from this hill. So knowing that you could set up sort of a perimeter to just watch towards this huge mountain you just trekked up and down.
That's right.
You could, if you set up the perimeter with defending that way, that's pretty. You feel very secure in that. And as you get to the top of the mountain, you get just a moment of this top of this hill. You get a moment to investigate kind of your surroundings and kind of eyeball anything you did. What was your investigation check?
10.
10. That was with advantage? I love it. Fantastic. You look around, and I think that just for a brief moment, Shallot, you realize how high up you are. Even though this is a little hill, you still are in the Valley of Teeth. This is a cut through. You look down at the valley where the water is, and you just kind of look outwards towards the crasks and the different these different things in these teeth, and you're able to look over and you can see some of the lights far off in the distance for where HARROW is. This is where all the goblins kind of like have little towns up and down this area, and even further off there's this little dark area where that's where the forest is. And I think that there's like this calming moment of, man, this has been a good quest. You're excited, and you're doing a good job, and you can't wait to get back to tell Okra all about how you got to go and see places that he's never been to yet. and
Yeah.
You look down and you can see everybody kind of walking, doing around the camp, and on a 10, it's a good moment. Do you have anything else that you want to do while you're up here before you slide back down and give the full report to Paprika?
I feel like she would just take a moment and just kind of, like, as she's looking out, and just be like, these are all the people that I'm doing this for. Like, this is her nightly quest, and she's not gonna mess this up.
Fantastic. The three of you, anything you're doing before, like, dinner sets in, and, like, anything specific that you want to mention?
Wilbur's just hanging back with Gravlax.
All right. Anything Caramobola wants to get done with these animals that are all half asleep, other than Cayenne, who's eaten all of your grub?
No.
Awesome. Well, then, in that note, let's go ahead and take a break right here. And
gotta represent Mike Tyson because Mike Tyson is the best fighter in the world, pound for pound. Nothing has changed, all the same.
Ready?
Fuck you, Charizard! Oh, he got me! I know he didn't. One, two, and a super. Let's go. Who did that? All that shit. What's going on? I got super lucky. Super. I want that. One punch! Ice Clubberoo! Get out of me, boy! Getting on his nerves, but Mega Man like low-key my best friend. I still want that thing. Nah, buddy! Nah, buddy! We won our first one! Yes, sir!
All right, I'm gonna
Hot
start.
turks, hot or cold?
Okay, we started recording here. Yeah, you know, in the comments below, if you eat your Pop-Tarts cold, go ahead and comment. If you eat your Pop-Tarts hot, I mean, by toasted. If you toast your fucking Pop-Tarts, what is happening? This is what y'all have done to me in this little short break that we had. I'm sitting here saying hot Pop-Tarts. No, they're toasted. If you have your Pop-Tart toasted, if you eat your toasted strudel without heating it up, you're a psychopath. This is the recap of our break. Okay, I'm glad we took the break. Welcome back, everyone. Oh man! All right, here we go. It's nighttime. You guys are eating dinner. You guys have like fed all the animals. I think Karam and Bola, you've gone through and made sure that each animal has had their fill of what they need, and you got everything put together. Shallot, you've gone ahead and explained your full rundown of your thoughts from the circle, but you know you did have to explain a couple times that this is that. The question I have though is, do you tell on Sage? How do you deal with that? Like, because in her mind, you and Sage did this this whole investigation, this whole thing, but you did it alone. So when she goes ahead and says, "Oh, great job, you and Sage did a wonderful job," how do you react to that?
I don't feel like she would want to start drama, but at the same time, I feel like lying to Paprika would be like the most god-awful thing that she could possibly imagine in her soul. So she would be like, I tried looking for him. I really did. And then I remembered how important what I was supposed to do was, so I went and did it without him. I'm sorry, but was that what I was supposed to do?
Paprika would look around and go, "Oh, did?" And she would kind of look, and then she would like look past you and go, "Sage, did you not help her?" And Sage is like next to you, right over your shoulder. And Sage would be like, "Oh, I was gathering. She was an eye shot when she was going up the hill, but I did not help, no." And he would shake his head.
Training from a distance, I guess.
She was an eye shot. She was fine. And he just kind of like sits there and like nods. The second that this is over, he's gonna slink off and find Karam and Bola and be like, "Look, I found these acorns," and like he's showing her all of the stuff he found that you could feed to the animals.
I think the hedgehogs are the only ones who are going to appreciate the acorns.
They could make little things, and like he has one of the acorn tops, and he's made it into like a little hat for Briar.
Fantastic. That's exactly what I was going to do with it.
Right? It's so good. And he's like nose to nose with you.
She's just so used to it. She just goes with it. She doesn't even correct at this point.
Fantastic. And then he would say, "Well, I hope they like it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do a perimeter check for real and make sure that it's all good." And he's gonna slink off and do a full perimeter check.
As after he's gone, it's like she remembers. Never mind.
But I would say that the sun is like starting to set, and you can kind of start to see the moons come into vision. So, but it's still like that midway point when it's like still pretty bright out, but like the moon is starting to hit the skyline, and the second moon hasn't started to pull up yet. There's a small moon and then a much larger moon, and the larger planetary body moon is the one that comes up towards the middle of the night, and it's not as bright as the star that you guys are around, but it does make nights not as dark as they would be in like our world. But it reflects a kind of like this dusky, almost like off-white light, where like moonlight here is like pretty clear, and like you think like when you draw it in like cartoons, it's like that like shimmery ethereal blue. No, this is like a foggy white light that it kind of like puts off from the larger moon. And then the smaller moon is this like just this really like almost like off violet looking celestial body that just kind of it orbits the moon. So it's like these two moons that are just kind of in the sky, and it's much smaller, and it's known as good luck when you can look up in the sky and you can see it throughout the whole night. It's supposed to symbolize that it's going to be a nice day out the next day. Whether this is true or not is up to you. It depends on if you decide that you are what is that? There's a word for it. If you believe in all that type of stuff. But you know, like when black cats are supposed to be unlucky, like there's a word for it. Superstitious. There you go. Thanks, Shallot. But yeah, if you were superstitious, then you would believe that seeing the violet moon for the full night means that it's good luck. This is the thing. But you know, this is where we're at. Let's see. I think that so where do you all tend to eat your food? This will make depend kind of what's going on, because you guys can't eat with they don't really invite you over to eat with them, but like they make sure that you have your food. But where would everybody eat other than Wilbur, who is next to Gravlax, because Gravlax and Wilbur are like buddies somehow at this point.
We're both just big, awkward dudes that are here to do our job.
Yeah. But Charlotte, where do you eat your food?
I imagine this would be the allotted time that that Shallot has on her schedule that Paprika told her was relaxation time. So she would be kind of like sitting by the fire as like trying to relax pose as much as she can beside Pepper, and I'm sure they're probably like comparing their checklists or whatever they did for the day, and like she's telling her about, thank you so much for giving me the power to climb that mountain to look around the camp, and it was so tall, and kind of like that.
Right. I was thinking that. I was like, Pepper would probably be sitting next to Shallot just because I feel like they could kind of get along a little bit, and Pepper would be like, what mountain?
And she would point, that one right up there.
Oh.
Look, listen, you gotta be up close to it. Like it maybe looks less daunting from far away, but when you get to it.
I get it. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. The deception of distance. Yes, gotcha.
Right. Yes.
Caramanvola, where are you at?
I'm with Thorn and Juniper, and I'm eating a very vegetarian-looking plate. There's no meat in sight. It's veggies and fruits and
Very cool.
Some sort of nut.
I think that from you, I'm going to let you choose. You can either give me a insight roll or a survival roll.
The whole 15.
Okay. It's you've been around animals long enough that and you've like worked with them, and especially Juniper. Like you and Juniper and Thorn are like, you're all thick as thieves at this point. Especially Juniper, who'd be stealing food from others. But like you're here, and you start to see Juniper stand against its tiredness, and it starts to struggle around. And normally you would be telling it to sit down, but I'd say on a 15 you realize that all of the animals are starting to like get restless, and then Moose wakes up, and you realize that means that something is approaching, and it's big enough that all of the animals are feeling the approach before the initial attack. This is kind of like when a herd begins to get that sense that like, they're being watched by a larger predator. This is that whole like restless, like something caught, one of the animals has caught it, like something, and you don't know which animal has seen it first. And then I think that you would realize, again, on a 15 survival check, you know that you need to figure out which one of these animals saw whatever they're supposed to be looking at first. So how would you figure that out?
I know it wasn't Moose. So
that is a good deduction.
Was not Moose.
Poor
Probably
Moose.
was not Barry or Briar. So she's gonna whisper to Thorn. Okay. Where is it? Juniper is probably not as close physically as Thorn is. So right now she's keep this one calm because he has all the stuff that she does not want to repack all of. And calmly,
Smart.
well, not calmly, but try to keep a hold of his, I know what it's called, halter.
Right. Yeah, halter. There you go.
And also reaching for Juniper because more or less she doesn't want them to get spooked and leave because that means she has to find them.
Give me animal handling on advantage. Very well put.
Yeah.
13.
So you're getting them put together, and you can see Ladle staring straight, and this is what is making everybody else come out and start to like get on guard as Senor Ladle is like it's this this very tunnel visioned horse stare dead into the forest, and you would see first. You'd be the first one to notice that you can see two large eyes looking back.
I'm gonna let go of the elk and yell for Sage.
Oh, yeah. I think that Sage, who is now a little bit up on the ridge line, on that mountain that Shallot has spoken about, as he turns to look back, he eyeballs the chimera that you're seeing, and goes, "Oh, good call. Alert. Let's be on guard. Let's be on guard." And he kind of alerts everybody. And as you all kind of stand, Shallot and Pepper and everybody kind of going. Paprika's the first one up, and she's holding her hand out to Shallot, saying like, "Throw me my weapons." She's waiting for her everything, and her mostly for more than anything else, her maul and her shield.
Right.
But she's got her hand back to you, waiting to do the whole thing that you all have practiced a million times.
Shallot's side, like she would immediately just pull everything up that she needs: helmet, shield, mace. Just throwing them, putting on her as she needs.
And she'd like throw her as you get her helmet, she like tosses it to one hand, and like somehow she has this thing where she rolls her hair up and one motion puts her helmet on, and it just somehow works for Paprika. There's no reason for this to happen, but it just does. It's a whole Sailor Moon transformation sequence that just happens every single time she touches her helmet. And she looks back, and now her serious face is on, and I think that she would look like very squarely into Shallot's face and say, "If it is a chimera that we are after, we will take care of the large beast. Make sure you keep all the animals safe from the shivers." And I just need a good history check from Shallot to see if she knows what the shivers are.
You need a good one.
Not when I have a -1 to all my intelligence checks. We're not getting that.
Roll a 20.
I rolled a nat 20 for a 19, guys.
Guys, you know how we were talking about how dice tell stories? Shallot is very well read. She knows what the shivers are, and she knows what a chimera is. She knows exactly what kind of chimera this is. This is one of the chimera of the Tooth Pass. There are only one kind here, and it's a large, think like a bobcat that is like grown in way bigger size, that has, instead of having large wings, it has these like big like what do you call those, like the big scorpion tail, and it's got the pincers from the scorpion instead of its front legs, and as it shakes, all of these things start to fall off of it. So whales have these little sucker fish that kind of like eat the barnacles and like stay around them. These little synergetic things. This is like that, but if they were bats. And as it shakes, these large bat-looking things with these huge sucker-looking mouths detach from it and start to swarm your camp. And they are, I think they're more nuisances than anything else, but that being said, if they attach to an animal, they can take large cuts of skin out of them. So as Paprika says, you keep everything safe from the shivers. We'll take care of the beast itself. And she'd be the first one to like rush in towards this thing as it gives this like large roar that also has this like low gargle to it, and the gargle itself kind of sounds like cicadas going shh, and this thing kind of like pads its way in with its these large pincers, and I think Sage would be running his way down, and Haddock would immediately look towards Pepper and kind of nod to you and trying to give you, but as he nods, he'd give you bardic inspiration on a D8. Kind of like you can do this type of thing. Yep. Good. That's right. Breathe. And then you turn around and he draw his sword. He uses two long swords and does not have a shield, and rushes on in beside it. The last one to get up would be Gravlax, who goes, "It's just an animal." And he stands up, and I think that as he stands up, he would he would just grab one of the shivers out of the air and like snap it in half and be like, "Wilbur, just be careful," and just walk towards the thing.
Am I even needed here? Y'all can handle this.
It's important that we all work together as a team.
I feel like at that point, Shallot would have Pepper's hand shield out, running by Wilbur. Be like, "Wilbur, protection positions, we're going to the animals," and she would just keep going.
I want you to like again 8 foot, right? Like 8 foot 4.2.
Wilbur's gonna watch them run past and just grab his staff and just put it on his shoulders and start walking after them.
Okay, so everybody, if this is your first time tuning in to, actually this is gonna be the first time I've ever done this on Rolling Until Ragnarok itself. We do initiative very differently. We do. I've started a new way of doing fights, and I think that everybody will enjoy it. But this being our first initiative roll, I'm going to let you all decide who's going to roll initiative against me, other than Wilbur, who is not ready. Because he doesn't care, he's walking in the back. So that between the three of you, who's going to roll initiative?
Sir. A sorcerer is always ready.
Oh, excuse me.
I definitely don't think it would be Pepper.
Okay. Karam and Bola, D20 versus your initiative versus my Shivers initiative. I got a 12.
I got a 16.
Very nice. So that means that you four will go first, and then my Shivers will go. The Shivers, there are exactly 9 of them now because Gravlax snapped one in half. So there are 9 Shivers. They are flying little bats. They are everywhere. You can assume that there is one within 10 feet of each of you no matter what. I will tell you this, Karam and Bola, you being closest to the animals, the majority of them are swarming you. To give you a little bit more thought though, there are two swarming Senor Ladle by himself, and then all the other ones are kind of going after Moose. So you guys are all within 15 feet of Moose. So you guys are all within the 10-20 foot range of all the Shivers, except for the 2 that are swarming Ladle as he kind of pads around, and he's a good 40 feet away from you. So you guys need to figure that out. The 4 of you, by all means, make your first round.
So Ladle, in my head, is not my jurisdiction. That's Shallix.
Yeah, I was like, that would be my first thought, is I would need to get Ladle and bring him to us.
Okay.
So she'd be booking it. She'd be dashing.
Okay, yeah. So Shallot's gonna go and defend Ladle. What will you 3 be doing?
I am going to...
You said these were like bats. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're large bats with these like, think like, you know how like suckerfish have like those circular mouths? It's like large bats with these like big suckerfish mouths that if they happen to attach, they're able to like pull chunks of meat off of animals.
Hmm.
It's terrifying.
I love making up creatures.
I feel against going with their kind of baddish. Is there like some sort of sound that could be produced in order to kind of disorientate them? Because I could use thaumaturgy to instantaneously create a sound.
You know, why don't? Okay, so thaumaturgy. Okay, here. This is what we'll do. Give me either an intelligence or performance check.
Intelligence or performance. All right, we're definitely going with performance.
Okay.
All right. That is a 20.
Higher than my
Very
18. So I rolled an 18, you rolled a 20. I'm gonna say that the 7 bats that are around Moose will have disadvantage to hit.
Cool.
You make this loud, like crashing, large, high pitched like sound, and it just does enough that it disrupts the way they move. They all use their little echolocation. They all use it, and it just shudders them all for the turn. So they have disadvantage to hit on their turn, except for the 2 that are over here with Shallot. Wilbur, what you up to, man?
Wilbur's just gonna be like, well, has one of these things taken a chunk out of something in front of him?
Not yet. You're getting the jump on them actually as they fly in.
Okay, well, better safe than sorry. Wilbur's just gonna go ahead and tap his chest, and he's gonna turn on mage armor and just bump his AC to 14.
Okay. Carambola. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say he was gonna do that, and then he was just gonna kind of ready himself to make sure, like, to either dodge out of the way if anything comes diving at him.
Okay, so ready a dodge. Sounds good. Carambola, that's all you.
I'm going to take my quarterstaff, which doesn't look like a staff really. It has a shepherd's hook at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to cast Shillelagh on it, and I'm just going to swing it like it's a baseball bat at something. Not something. One of the shivers.
Okay. Give me a D4.
So 1.
Okay. So you're gonna connect. You would connect with 1 at your swing. Because if I was gonna give you a D4 minus, and then divide it by 2 and let you see what you hit, but if you hit 2 of them or not, but that's very cool. Go ahead and give me roll to hit.
Oh, that was the wrong one. Got ahead of myself. That's a 24.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you definitely hit. Let's go ahead and talk about that.
For 11.
11? Yeah, you hit one of these shivers and you just bat it and it just scatters blood across the ground. Like it just sprays across the floor. Because you have overkilled it by a couple points of health. We'll
this
get
is my
to...
option?
Yeah, so you just home run one of these shivers across the ground. We'll get to what that means in a moment on our next turn, because we're only going in these little increments. Shallot, you've run over now. What are you doing as you up? Because, like I said, you're within 30 feet. So as you finish your little sprint, there are these 2 shivers kind of just starting to get over to he's more like alert. He's not like scared. It's Ladle is trying to defend himself as best as he can, horse-wise.
Right. But like still in her mind, like she's like, he could probably kick one of these things, but I'm not risking that because we're not risking Paprika's horse.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's one of her most important responsibilities. So you would see Shallot for the first time use what little bit of magic she's learned in her squire training. So she would reach up and she would touch Senor Ladle, and you would see what looks like a shimmery, like spice type barrier form itself around Senor Ladle. So he would get an additional what's my spell casting ability? Oh, that's okay. So 5, he would get an additional 5. The bubble forms around him that has 5 hit points. And so like if he takes damage, the ward would block it and take the damage instead.
Nice.
If that makes sense. So he would have
Yeah.
like this like shimmery spice bubble around him just to prevent him from getting hurt, as she would just like ready herself to like start swinging
Awesome.
on anything that came close.
Okay. Let's go to the shivers then. There are 8 left now. And I know that there. Let's start with the 2 over here at our Senor Ladle. I would say that the 1 would swoop down, and as he starts to get one good bite in, the barrier kind of ignites itself, and he takes 3 damage off this barrier. And kind of like shakes itself, and then that would mean the other one kind of like turns on you. And I'm gonna roll to hit. It's a 8, 9, 10. Your AC is much higher than that, I believe. So this bat kind of like it is a bat. So like you just it's an easy swoop, like just a swoop of your shield, and it just kind of has to go back to it. So you're defending Senior Ladle versus these 2.
Okay, as my reaction for my fighting style, since it's interception, can I attempt to throw my shield up after the barrier goes away to negate some of the damage that Senior Ladle would take? Because I haven't used my reaction. Right?
Oh no, Ladle hasn't taken any. The barrier's not even down yet. It did.
Oh, I thought you said he took 3.
It did 3 damage to the barrier.
Okay, great. Then never mind.
But for you guys, I would say that the 1 kind of sees you do mage armor. 1's gonna come for you on disadvantage there, Wilbur. And you're lucky that you did that. I got a nat 20 and a 9, so there you are on that. So the 1 kind of swoops down, and it just hits your mage armor, kind of like hits the ground, like gets back up, like it flies away as it's like kind of getting off. Do you have a reaction to that?
Actually, yeah, I'm gonna take an opportunity attack and swing my club at it.
Yeah, go for it.
While I was trying to fly away. Nope, that's a 4.
It's just a little bit more. They're pretty dexter. Like they're kind of crazy. Like you're trying to hit a bat with a club, man. And
no, right.
And you just gotta swear. This is like
it's more just like what the fuck? You just gotta smack it.
Okay, and then so now we've got 1, 2, 3. I would say that most of them are gonna go after Moose. Let's see. So Moose gets 2 really big chunks kind of pulled off of him as the 2 like attached to one of his shoulders. And now I'm gonna have 2 come for Carambola since she smacked 1 and they kind of saw it. So a nat 1 and a 17.
The 17 hits.
All right. And you would take 1 piercing damage.
Oh, okay.
As it kind of gets this little, like its wing kind of hits you, and then right before it's able to like really suction cup down on top of you, you're able to like bat it away, but it's still, the wings kind of like pull a little bit off of you, and it gets bat away, and then the other one just completely misses as it kind of dives down into you. That would be their turn. It becomes your all's turn again, but there is one thing that we have to do. Well, no, I guess it's going to depend on what you do here, Morgan. Pepper, what are you doing on your turn?
I feel like Moose has carried her, right? So I feel like
Yeah.
she'd run over to him and like try and like heal, like cure wounds on
Mhm.
Moose.
So that would happen around the time that this giant splatter of blood from our home run star here, Carambola, just kind of like as you're running, just like right in front of you, this giant spray of blood just kind of flies past. Would you like to roll on your table, please? One of the please, Pepper, describe give me a description. Just give everybody an idea of why we're rolling, please.
Okay, so Pepper, even though she is a cleric, has an issue, just a tad bit of a time dealing with blood, right? Just the whole like, why does there just have to be so much blood? She never truly understands, or why they insist on shedding so much, but why everything. Anyway, it's a lot, and so just sometimes she may accidentally, happenstancely, just lose a little bit of consciousness, and
Just spit a
Just a smidge, yeah.
So
and she might find herself waking up on the ground. Just again,
beautiful. So give me that first D20 real quick.
13.
13. What did we say that did?
That was. Let me switch over to my notes.
Yeah.
Okay, so 11 through 17. You do the thing, but RP wise, I feel queasy. That's kind of the.
All right, cool. Yeah, good.
Cool.
Like, and this is like you were like, you knew that there was gonna be blood, so like I feel like you readied yourself, even though you're like, please don't let me see it, type of thing.
Right.
But by all means,
Definitely like, okay, Moose is more important. Step over the blood. We've done this just, a million times. She's gonna like step over. She's gonna like tiptoe like over. You see like just giant freaking bird like tiptoe over like this splatter of blood. And she's gonna get to like Moose and like put her hands on him and like cast cure wounds.
Mm-hmm. How much do we get back?
We actually roll it. 12.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Moose is feeling great.
Yeah.
Wilbur and Carambola, what are you all doing?
I am laughing at these shivers, and I'm gonna. Can I swing again? I'm gonna swing again.
Yeah, go ahead. Give me a good swing. Give me a D4.
Oh no. Okay. I'm keeping that though.
Yeah, keep your 18. That's fine. Give me a D4.
Oh, that's a whole 4.
Great. So you hit 2 of them.
Cool.
Roll damage for them.
Oh my god, please do not hit me with the blood.
Ben.
Okay. So 2 more go down. They each have 10 health for this one. For these 2 at least. And so it's like you're like swinging just into this like swarm of these bats and just kind of connect with 2 of them, and you just kind of like knock them back, and they kind of like fall to the ground. You've bludgeoned them to death at this point. So now that's 4 of them down. That leaves 6 left, but 2 of them with shallot. So Wilbur, what are you doing?
I'm going to turn, and I'm going to use Water Spout to try to hit one of the ones that's around Pepper.
Okay.
So it needs to make a DC 12 strength check, or it takes 1d6 damage.
Oh yeah, it fails the living trash out of that strength check.
So it takes 4 bludgeoning damage.
All right. Yeah, you hit you're healing, and you see this water just push one of these things just completely away from you, and it like flies off and kind of starts to circle back.
she's gonna like look back and give like a thumbs up right quick, like she's still healing ox. She's like stroke or moose ox moose. She's like, you're okay. It's okay.
Shallot, you're two.
I feel like while this is all happening, Shout would be looking back at the other three, just to make sure that they're okay. Like, because in her mind, she's like, I need to get back to them. They need me. They can't do any of this without me protecting them. So she would be kind of like trying to walk Senor Ladle as she takes her mace out and swings at one of the two.
Okay. Yeah, roll to hit.
12.
12 is its AC.
Okay.
So we'll do make it take it for this campaign.
So it would be 4 damage from the mace. I'm deciding if she would want to try to like speed things up by smiting something or not. We'll save it.
Okay. So 4 damage. Give me an animal handling check to see if you can walk Senor Ladle over to the others.
Yes, it's a nat 20. I sure can.
I mean, Senor Ladle. I was going to say, so what's really funny is I was going to say, like, on any other day, I would have given you advantage to move Senor Ladle, but because of the shivers, I'm letting it be a thing. So, you're moving them over, and these two are kind of following suit, and like he kind of like nuzzles on into you and like trots alongside of you pretty happily. Like it's almost like if you were like getting him ready to go do like a trick, he's like right along next to you.
Come on, buddy, we gotta go take care of the others. You're so good, left foot, right foot, Hoof, hoof.
Yeah. Just as it like moves along with you, just chill. That's y'all's turn. So that leaves us with 6 shivers in all. 2 of them the 2 over by Senor Ladle are just gonna go ahead and take a swing on Shallot since you're the one leading the crew at this point.
Okay.
I got a 20, not a nat 20, and a 6. So it's
the 20 hits.
And I rolled for it. That's 4 damage.
Okay.
4
Do I
piercing.
get like is that like a reaction? I can cast silvery barbs.
Oh, yeah. Did you want a silvery barbs the 20?
Yes.
That makes it a 14.
Mm-mm. That doesn't hit.
Then nope, it doesn't hit. Silvery barbs stops it. Okay. Let's see. I've got those are those 2. There's 4 left. There's 1 that you hit, Phantom. It's coming for you. And it rolled a 4 to hit. Thaumaturgy has done you all such a service. I need you all to understand. This disadvantaged hit thing is ridiculous. And then let's see. I'm gonna say that out of the 3 left, 1 of them are gonna take a bite out of our boy Moose. 1 of them are gonna screech, and then the other one's gonna take a shot at Pepper. Thank you. Pepper's the one healing. I'm trying to. I was like, what is her name? No, because I almost called you Bramble. So I rolled a 16 to hit Pepper.
A 16 hits.
Okay. And you would take 3 piercing damage.
Okay.
And I get 2 damage off of Moose. And then the one that's screeching, I need a wisdom saving throw from Pepper and Carambola, since you 2 are within 10 feet of it.
I got a dirty 20.
I got a
Nice.
7.
You just have disadvantage to hit next turn on your turn. And as they keep swarming. That makes it your guys' turn, though. Shallot, I think that you are now with the group. So, you 4, please decide what you're doing. There are 2 on Shallot, And 4 on you guys. Nope. Yep. I'm right.
We would get in. I would, put Senor Ladle towards the back so that way he can keep him protected.
Mhm.
She would try to position herself in front of everybody. Be like, don't worry, guys. I'm here now.
Pepper would be excited.
I'm gonna
Thank you
swing
for
in
the
another axe.
enthusiasm, Pepper. You guys are doing a great job, just like we all practiced in teamwork time.
Okay. Hit with disadvantage, Karen Mavola.
Do you want me to roll the d4?
Not until after you hit.
Okay. There it is. I don't know why I didn't do the thing. There we go. Well, why did I roll so many? That was a hell of a lag.
Andy Beyond just having like a fun time.
Yeah, D&D Beyond just freaked out.
Here, let me just roll it at disadvantage with the thing I'm supposed to use.
All right.
That's a nat 1.
Okay. So yeah, you take a swing and it just the screeching is just like, oh god, it hurts. Also, as it screeches, Cayenne would probably like push against you, so it just knocks you kind of out of the, like, you're like, come on, man. Like, the whole thing, Cayenne's just pushing against you while you're trying to take a swing.
Shallot's a distraction.
Yeah, that's fine. Can I swing on the one that I'd already swung on from before?
Of course.
Yep, that hits. It's gonna take another 6 damage.
Yeah, you down it. That leaves you guys with 5 shivers left. Wilbur and Pepper, what y'all doing?
I feel like, let me see. That could work.
Would these shivers count as beasts?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, I have speech of beast and leaf, so I can communicate with beasts. I just can't understand them, and so I'm just gonna yell out to all of them. I'm gonna be like, "Cut it out before the rest of you die." And can I just make like a persuasion check to just be like, get these things to just stop?
Man, roll intimidation.
Okay. That is a 14.
Oh, that's investigation.
Oh, that's investigation. My bad. That is an 18.
Better. Wow.
Roll a d6.
Really just Shallot's presence that is
So
brought on.
dejected, yeah.
That is a 1 on the d6.
Okay. One of them like stops and then like it almost like turns and looks at you and then just takes off back towards the chimera. So yes, one of them listened to you.
Okay, I'll take it.
It's fine.
All right.
There are 4 left.
Cool.
Stay on.
So Pepper is going to, like, the whatever the thing is, sucker, the bat sucker thing. Anyway, is gonna the one that took a bite out of Moose. He is going to be like, bad sucker, bad, and then like cast spasm right on the creature.
Yeah.
And that is a con 12.
I rolled a nat 1.
Yay! So on a failed save, the target drops forever, is doing then sneezing, coughing, retching, and seizing to the end of its turn. It cannot take actions or reactions during this time, so forth and so forth.
Yeah, okay, so of the 4 left, one of them is prone on the ground, spasming.
Right.
Just
Bad thing! Bad!
all right. Amazing. Okay, I guess. Okay, yeah, the three of them are gonna like turn and just like there's three up left, and the one they're getting yelled at now. They're one's spasming, and these three are just gonna all just swarm Carambola for a second, try to just get at her as much as they can before they have to just fly off. So here we go. I got a 13 is the highest thing I got.
Nope.
So all three of them just start swarming Carambola. It's y'all's turn.
I am going to face step out of that mess
Okay.
and
Bunch of flowers come up where you were and then appear and you're somewhere else.
except she's a wintry.
Oh. It snows a little.
It snows a little. It gets really cold right there, so there's like snow and there's frost on the ground.
Sprig of
And she
mistletoe.
appears on the other side of Shallot and Ladle and all of the mess.
Okay.
No. And I would like to throw an ice knife at one of the shivers.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Because I'm kind of seeing that they're still swarmed because she disappeared.
Yeah, three of them are together.
It's a 12.
That's what we said. Make it, take it. You hit.
Yay! So the initial stabby on one of them does 3 piercing,
Okay.
but then the cold explosion does 6.
And that does it to everything around it, right?
The cold, yes.
So that means one of them goes down because it only had 4 health left. And then so that would leave 2 left. And one that just got done spasming.
And you see her and she's holding this quarterstaff. She goes, "Okay, guys, up to you."
Don't worry, Carambola, I will make sure that you are safe. And she would run in to try to swing on one of the other ones.
Go ahead.
Yep, that hits.
Is the one spasming? Is it still prone?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Shallot swings on another and does 3 more bludgeoning damage, trying to strike it to the ground.
So the 2 that are left both have 1 health. I just want you both to understand.
Cool. I feel like Pepper would stand over the one that was prone, the one she spasmed, and look at it and kind of okay. And like she'd take out her quarterstaff. Just
She's like gonna just try and smash it so that there's not a lot of blood. Just kind of like dig it into the ground a little bit. Yeah. Please roll to hit with advantage because it's pro.
I still have to roll to hit. Okay.
With advantage because it's prone.
That is a nat 20.
Okay. So on a nat 20, she does exactly what she was saying. She just kind of like pushes it into the ground until it dies and then lets go. And it's just this body on the ground.
Okay. Because I was like, technically, right, that would give me like a 2d6, and so I feel like at a 2d6, it would like spatter into like a shit ton of blood. And I was like, okay.
Well, I was like, she crit, that the head exploded.
No. I'm gonna say it does because she crit. She did exactly what she said she was gonna do.
Right.
She just kind of pushed it until it dies. Like just held its little body against the ground as hard as it could until it just gave up. Okay.
So you're going, Pepper.
There's one more left. Wilbur, what are you doing, man?
Oh, Wilbur, go.
So she got the one that's prone. So the last one is over by where Carambola was standing before.
Yeah.
Okay. Wilbur will just hold out his staff and he'll be like, "I'm sick of this," and he'll do one more water spout. So it needs to make another DC 12 or get blasted with a fountain of water.
I'm not rolling this dice anymore.
Staff.
I failed. Go ahead. I'm not rolling this dice anymore.
Okay. Well, you said I'm going to do more than 1 damage, so it's dead.
Yeah, its life is gone. You all finish up. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it just gets hit by a jet of water and just pushed into the nearest tree. So just sopping, wet, soggy body just falls to the ground.
Just sponges itself down the side of a tree. No. As you guys are finishing up, some of the animals look a little bit like they're all worried, but because of Pepper and because of you guys, none of the animals are hurt. You guys did it. Like, you protected the animals. A good job. The fire's still going. You all look over at like right about now, you guys have just finished killing these 9 small bats, and as you look over, you see Paprika like run to the side and take this giant like two-handed maul and just clock this chimera across the face as it goes to try and clip her with its big like the big lobster scorpion claw, and it just, right before it can close in on her, it just drops and its claw just hits the ground, and the whole thing just its head just snaps and it dies, and she's standing where the claw would be about to grasp her, and she's just standing, and she just drops the maul and looks up as Sage comes in and like takes its head off. Whole thing just one, like almost like together as a joint attack. And it's just perfect timing, perfect unison. They've definitely worked together in the past. Gravlax is kind of standing off to the side, staring at him like, why are we here? type of thing. Same sort of attitude Wilbur has through all of this. And in the back, you can see Haddock just kind of like holding its tail down. He kind of lets it go. The tail just drops to the ground. And together they've just taken apart this chimera in the same amount of time it takes you all to deal with 9 bats. And it's just a good team effort all around, everyone.
Absolutely.
The chimera falls, they kind of like drag it a little bit. I think Sage would start to like cut pieces of it out and like try and like peel off pieces of meat that he can use for stuff to feed everybody with, but Sage also kind of looks like he is, I think that he would look a little bit like at all of it, like he doesn't like he's not really a meat eater himself, but he knows that we have 2 birds of prey and other meat eaters there, so he's trying to do his best, and this is a big animal. That being said, the one shiver that was told to go away finds his way back over to Wilbur and kind of like lands next to him and just kind of stares at him, because Wilbur, you yelled at him and told him to go away, and now where he lives is gone.
We're not doing this. Gravlax? This thing is following me. I figure you would find this very interesting. Are we killing it?
I think Gravlax would look over and see this like bat shiver thing looking at you, and he'd be like, Are you telling on the bat?
I don't want a bat. Cannonballa, I've got a new friend for you.
You can't have we don't need this. No, these things. And as you're saying that, he's like, these things eat, and he's just going to kick it. Just like that squirrel in Baldur's Gate. This thing just shatters across the yard, hits a tree and rolls out. And he's like, it's just a bat. He just looks at you like, why didn't you do this? And then he's gonna, and I think then it would dawn on him to look at the rest of you. No, yeah, I think then it would dawn on him to look at the rest of you. And Paprika's staring at him like, what are you doing? And Gravlax will look a little bit embarrassed and be like, it's just a bat.
It's just a bat.
Off to the side, Paprika and Gravlex are now having a full conversation about the life and times of these shivers during this thing. That being said, I think that what is first of all, what's Shallot doing? That's the first thing I have to ask.
I feel like the first thing she would normally be expected to do is to go check on Paprika after the fight's over, like to make sure nothing's dinged, nothing's messed up, she's not hurt, that would be her first priority.
So as you approach Paprika, sitting down by the fire, it's now getting darker. Paprika would look over and be like, "Oh, you're good." And she'd pull her helmet off, and there's a big ding in the side of her helmet, like where her face part piece would be. And she'd be like, "Can you get this out for me during the next couple days worth of walk?"
Yes, ma'am. I will add that to my list. She'll tuck that to the side. Make a note that she needs to get her helmet fixed. She would do a quick maybe medicine check over her just to make sure that she's not hurt in any way.
This is such a great idea. Give me a medicine check.
While this is going on, can Pepper sidestep slowly over towards Wilbur and be like, can you take the stomach pieces out of the shivers? They're good for medicine, and wash them.
You know what, Pepper? Sure. Yeah, sure. And Wilbur's just gonna grab some of these things and drag them down to the river and just start gutting them and cleaning them. Because this means he gets to be away from the rest of the commotion, and he's close enough. If something happens, he can just shout.
Okay. I have so many things to do with all this. I love this. Caramel Pola, what are you doing?
I'm wrangling all the animals back together. Sir Ladle gets to stay with the group now.
Perfect. What's your medicine check?
6.
She looks fine.
Okay. I feel like, just for good measure, Shallot would pull out some bandage and wrap something, just I don't like how that looks.
And she would, and I think that Paprika would just let you do it while she's having this full conversation with Gravlax about whether or not shivers deserve to just be allowed to be around. And he is sitting here like they're bats that are they're nuisances. They're just pests. You don't want parasites. That's all they are. And they're having this full conversation about what that is, because while Gravlax is this great fighter, this great useful person, he's not a paladin, and she has taken this devotion to protect all creatures where she can. And while she's explaining that, he's like, "You just took a giant hammer and knocked that chimera's head off. Where was his protection?" And they're having this full conversation about whether or not the chimera was innocent or not in the whole thing. And he's making good points. She's making good points. This is two friends having a full-on argument about shit that they've already argued about a million times. You've listened to this. You're probably just wrapping your hand for fun, and she's letting you. And you're down at the water, and I think that while you're there, give me a perception check.
Okay.
Maybe you'll see a crocodile this time, right?
Maybe.
That is a nat 1 with a -1 for a 0.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So you're sitting there and you don't notice it, but in the water in front of you pushes up, and it is just Sage coming out of the water, and he fully sits up out of the water, and he's like, "Oh, I was cooling off. Did you need some waters?" And he's right here on your face, his big yellow eyes blaring in the night, and his tongue hits the top, hits your forehead as he's talking.
Hi, Sage.
Hey.
Please don't do that.
Do what? You're the one who stepped on my tail. And like you look over and you're completely standing on his little skink tail.
Sorry about that.
I was cooling off in the mud. And he's just covered in mud. He's also bare ass naked.
Where is your gear or anything to let someone know you were here?
I left it in camp.
You walked all the way down here naked?
Yeah, nobody else is around.
Fair, I guess.
And then he like just sinks back into the mud, and it's just like watching two eyes just disappear into the dark water.
You know, no matter how many times that happens, it never gets any easier to deal with. And Wilbur's just gonna go back to cleaning this fucking thing.
Yeah.
That was incredibly unsettling, but it's not the first time Sage has unsettled him.
Yeah, Sage is a full-on issue.
Well, that's another thing I'm gonna have to work out. But okay.
I think that that would leave Haddock kind of like standing over, and he's alone over by the Chimera, just kind of staring. You can see him just kind of standing off by himself. Pepper, you would notice that because you're the one who looks for Haddock when things are quiet and done. Do you normally approach him when he's alone like this, or do you leave him to his devices? What's Pepper's?
I say she would walk around in circles first, trying to decide if she was not going to approach him or going to approach him. I think her circles would slowly get larger to the point where she was like close enough to kind of, like have him obviously like notice her, and like when he looks up, she'd be like, "Oh, do you need anything?" Like,
okay, no, perfect. I think that on like your third or fourth circle, then give me an insight check.
Okay. Insight. That is an 8.
Okay. In that case, I'm just gonna. So, Sir Haddock's eyes reflect like the fire and the dimming light as the sun just dips finally behind all the peaks of the pass, and the fire that's kind of like almost like reflecting off the like hard carapace of the pieces of the Chimera, and his gaze is just empty and tunnel visioned. And on an 8, you can just see that he's somewhere else right now. And then as you kind of like get to that third little pass, he kind of like, it's like his eye flicks to you, and like his head just like, it does the full on like bird thing where it like flicks sideways to look at you. And as you kind of do that thing, he goes, and he looks, and you see the first thing he does is he checks where the moon is. And then he looks back at you, and it's like you snapped him out of something. And he goes, "Oh, Pepper, yes. Are you okay? Did you get hurt?"
I'm well, thank you, sir. Do you need anything? Are you hurt? I asked Wilbur to make some medicine. Do you have an upset stomach? You seem lost.
I think he's gonna hold his arm out below where his wing is, and you can see a big like scrape. And he goes, "I got scraped by the thing, but I don't feel any of the poison, so I think I'm okay."
I feel like she would not find that acceptable, and she would. I don't have anything. I don't have anything that deals specifically with like poison at the moment. Outside of like the cure wounds, that could work. So yes, a good point. She would rush over and like get a good look at it, and it's a stink.
You haven't really dealt with these type of chimeras ever, and looking at it, but even on a 6, like looking at it, you can see that there's not any like, it's not like wet. There's not poison in it. Like you would know what to look for other things. It's not deep enough for it to have like gotten to a vein or anything like that. So You're just looking at like a light scrape that like he is just like, well, because it was the tail of the chimera, he has to like look. He's like I'm gonna watch it if it swells up, and you kind of go through the whole list of like, if it swells, you do this. If it's discolored, you do that. Like that whole thing.
Right, and it'd be like, I feel like she would like try and spray it with like some sort of like alcohol sanitary wipe type of stuff, and while she's explaining all of that, she's like, but don't worry, sir, I will be here to keep an eye on it for you just in case you forget. I'll create for you a checklist just so that you can monitor it if I don't happen to be standing right next to you. She's going to be kind of like, cleaning it and things like that.
Perfect.
You'll be perfectly fine.
Everybody gets back to camp. Sage has on clothes again. It is, but he has on like nighttime clothes. And I like Sage enough that I'm gonna explain how eccentric he is at the moment. Sage has on like full nighttime garb, like this is his sleeping clothes, and he's got big old, like floppy, slippers on, and his little floppy slippers are made from other animals' feet. But it's like a collection of animal feet that he has like sewn together, and they look like his feet, just bigger and fluffy. And this is all this is. And they're like patchworked hair, so like it's different kinds of animal hair that he has used, and he just thinks they're like his favorite thing in the whole world. He loves these slippers, and he thinks they're hilarious, and every time he gets a new animal, he adds more fur to them. And they have become like a thing. Is anybody doing anything before we sleep? And is anybody not sleeping?
Carambola is cleaning the new patch of fur that he will be adding to these shoes.
Thank you.
Pepper, got me saying Pepper would be drying the pieces that Wilbur has cleaned for her, but she's tired. She's definitely going to sleep. This has been exhausting.
Charlotte would be dealing with the whole helmet situation first before she went to sleep. She wanted to make sure she got that taken care of.
Okay, let's see. You're not being quiet about it, I'm guessing?
No.
I think that like as you're like trying to knock this dent out and do this thing, Paprika would look over and be like, Charlotte, dear.
Yes, sir, ma'am, yes.
Paprika. Just Paprika. It's late. You've done a lot. You've done more than you need to for the night. Do you want something to drink? And she's gonna pull out a flask of her like her own and try and offer you a drink to see if it will help you sleep. Or just stop. She just wants you to stop, but she doesn't want to say stop.
Yeah, if this is something that you require of me, I will. And she would set the helmet down as gently as she could.
Yep.
Hand her all of her little tools, and she would take it. And this would probably be the first time she would ever have tasted any type of alcohol, so she would open it up, kind of sniff it, be like, okay, and take a little swig.
Great. You take a little swig, and it probably tastes really bad. Like fermented citrus and grapes, and it's just like the worst kind of like homemade wine ever. And she just happens to drink it because it's something that lets her ease into sleep better. It's like a medicine for her. But it would be like taking a shot of just, I don't know, toilet wine. But anyway, this is not good stuff. And she would look at you and go, why don't you go ahead and take a second?
Okay, so this is relaxation. Okay,
Yep. And then you take your second, and then she'll take it and like cheers you, and then take a deeper swig of it, close it up, and go, like make a face, and then walk away, and then like just lay down. Shallot, you're gonna go to sleep, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Great.
like, did you take the hint?
we're okay. That leaves Wilbur. What are we doing, Wilbur?
We were probably just sitting in front of the fire, just relaxing, just kind of sprawled back, head on a log, just laid out. He's just looking at the stars, kind of mumbling to himself.
Okay. How long are we staying awake?
Uh, just a couple hours. Like, he wants to be rested enough to get up in the morning because having to trek and do things when he's sleepy is already enough of a hassle. But he's not the first one to go to bed. He enjoys the nighttime, so he's just going to sit up for maybe an extra hour or two and just look at the stars.
Is Carambola sleeping hard, or what's Carambola's sleep like?
She doesn't sleep. She takes trance.
Oh, so you have to take your trance.
Mm-hmm. She has to do her meditation.
Oh, how interesting. Where do you meditate?
With Thorn.
Okay.
She sits there. She pets him as she just feels everything.
Fun. Okay, that's good. And then I'll pick you two. I think that for Thorn, it would be for Carambola, who's sitting with Thorn, it would be a perception check. And for you, Mr. I'm just staying awake because I like the fire and the nighttime, why don't you give me a survival check?
I rolled an 11.
I rolled a 3.
Okay. You both you just set into your trance and you are deep into it. You're connecting with nature and everything around, and I think because the animals are so tired and beat, it affects kind of how you are as well. You're around all these very worn out creatures. It's kind of like you're just deep into like the REM cycle of your trance. And on a 3, I would think that because of whatever, you just don't happen to notice the yellow fog creep over everybody's bodies. And you breathe in real heavy and kind of just knock out. In the midst of all of this, why don't all 4 of you give me a Constitution saving throw?
I got a 4.
16.
14.
15.
Okay. That means Carambola got the highest?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I will describe how you're waking up. Carambola, you're the first one to wake up, but there is like this deep, like, it's like coming out of anesthesia, where you like kind of are like, but it's also like coming out of almost being drowned. So like you feel like the tightness in your throat, and as your eyes are like finding that swimming, that's weird, like the world is just kind of becoming a thing again. You can see next to you Barry kind of like pushing on your cheek and trying to like get your attention, as he's the only animal that did not fall prey to all of this as well, because for whatever reason Barry rolled a nat 20 on his Constitution check. So Barry is sitting here just like, wake up kind of type of thing, this little hedgehog just snapping at you, and finally the last ditch effort, he grabs one of his little pins and just right on your nose, and your eyes kind of like catch it, and you realize, and you are in just your sleeping clothes, completely bound, and looking around, as you can see next to you is this large body that then you seem to realize is Pepper without her armor on, just tied, like kind of like how you'd tie a ham up, because she was too big for, when you look around and you realize the goblins that have now basically poisoned everybody. She was too big for them to just really bind all the way, so they just kind of like hog tied her all the way up and laid her down in front of you in this little this weird rickety carriage that they have put together, that it looks basically like prison bars, but this all looks very half-assed, just to say. And but you don't see Shallot or anybody else or any of the animals other than Barry. Who got the 15?
Me.
Shallot, you start to come to. You're somewhere else, and the reason you come to is because there's like a bump, and your head just kind of like smacks forward, and it just kind of collides with this big piece of bone, and you're like starting to wake up, and you realize you don't have your breastplate, you don't have anything on. You had fallen asleep holding her helmet, and the helmet is gone now, and you are just sitting here looking at these weird slabs of meat, and you are in a cart and tied up, and with the other with Wilbur, and you both are kind of tied against the bone side of it, but there's a big bone middle part, but there's meat hanging, and like bits and pieces of raw meat on the floor, and you're definitely like in some kind of cart that's moving meat around, and it's like dripping, and you're covered in like dried up, like kind of soggy, that red bloody stuff that the meat gives off, and like you can't really tell what's going on. You can just hear goblins talking, and as you kind of like look up, you can see there's a large it's at first you think it's a Goliath, but then you realize, oh no, this is just a large ogre pulling these carts, and it's like this whole line, and all these goblins kind of marching along with different pitchforks and glaives and all this other stuff, and you immediately realize that you've been poisoned, because as you're the taste in your mouth, everything is wrong. But you two are the only two awake right now, and you kind of catch eyes, because the cart where you're hung up, she's also, and you're not in the same cart, but you're almost like a side-by-side carts being drug by the big ogre.
Okay.
And so you two catch eyes, because where you're tied up over here, she's tied up over here, and you're looking at each other basically through the wall, through the like bars, these makeshift like wooden and bone bars that have been made up, and all around you is just clatter of goblins and goblinoids and different things, but you don't see any of the knights or animals.
Ooh.
You can talk and figure out something real quick if you want before we roll some more stuff.
I mean, in my mind, it would be like, would talking alert them to us being awake? I feel like I would probably try to speak quietly if we're close enough for that.
You are not.
Yeah.
This is you all made eye contact from a good like 40 feet away.
I feel like Shallot would probably try to look around a little bit to kind of orient herself and see if maybe she could tell where they were. And she would do like a little like head nod, towards Carambola, just kind of like, you good? Like, you okay? Just to make sure that she like acknowledges that they see each other.
He's gonna like shake and try to toss her hair away from Barry.
Okay.
And look.
Okay. In that case, you give me a perception check, Carambola, but you give me an investigation roll there, Shallot. Don't look at me like that. You just said you're investigating.
Do perception.
Got an 8.
Okay. You on an 8, you kind of like are trying to get over at Barry, and you're used to talking to Barry in general, and I think that you would get the idea that he is trying to like ask, like trying to get from you what's going on, but he doesn't know where Briar is, and that's what this is. This is him being separated from Briar, and he's upset. Also, he is being very loud.
I'm trying to eavesdrop on the goblins. I need for you to be quiet.
It just kind of, and it like runs over and like gets into like your little pocket and like hides up in your little whatever piece of clothing and hair you have. You can feel it like climbing up into like into like the crest of your hair.
It tickles.
He sounds angry.
And I do, well, he'll be okay because the goblins might know where she is.
Can you speak Goblinoid?
I do speak goblin.
Ooh.
Very cool.
Oh.
Let's see. The only two that are closest to you are talking about, you could hear them like, and one of them is like, I just, feel like there's easier meat to get than having to attack, travelers. This is kind of getting upsetting at this point. And like the other one's like, I'm just going to do what I'm told. I get to eat either way. It's like, whatever. And like, it's kind of like listening to two people talk about how they work by the hour and it doesn't really matter what they have to do. Like you get an idea that this is just their job. They're just here. They have no hand in this other than like, whatever. That being said, it would strike you as really odd because you all are supposed to be at peace. Like, this is not supposed to be like they're not supposed to be grabbing up travelers. This is not something that is in the treaty that was said. And your two kingdoms are supposed to be, on equal footing. There's goblins in your kingdom currently, so the idea that goblins are snatching up travelers would be like, hey, wait, that's very incorrect. And they could get in a lot of trouble for that. That's an act of war. Who rolled the next what did Wilbur roll for his con save?
A 14.
I think that on that, this is about when you would kind of wake up and see Shallot just kind of like struggling to do anything, but not really understanding or getting what's going on. You are tied to the point where your hands are outside behind you, and you are like, it's almost like they didn't really know what or how or like what to do with you completely, so they just kind of like Spider-Man webbed you to one of the bones. You being a big guy as well. But as you kind of wake up, it would be like all the world just quickly rushing you with like light and the smells, and like you would also get like there's a lot of smoke kind of hitting you, and you realize that they're like all carrying torches, and they're bringing you guys down into some of the so you're supposed to be going north as you leave the pass, but you are all now going west into the mountains at this point. But with that, Wilbur, give me a nature check.
Okay.
As you come to.
That is a 7.
When you went to sleep, you were looking at the fire, you were looking up at everything, you're kind of coming back to, and you feel like the moon is in the same place. but that would mean that you've been out for at least a day. And you look around, and you don't know exactly where you are on a 7, but you know that more time has passed than 24 hours. So everybody's waking up now, and it's been more than one day. This is not the same night you fell asleep.
Right.
Also, now your stomach would be growling.
Let's see. Have Cameron Bola and Shallot a theme that I'm awake now?
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, Shallot's right in front of you, so
Okay.
she's doing her little struggle dance, but she would see you wake up.
See.
For the moment, since I can see at least our little group is all here, I'm also just gonna remain quiet for the moment. I don't want to draw any undue attention since I'm coming to, and I don't know exactly what Shallot has planned. But knowing Shallot, I'm sure Shallot is trying something and seeing her wiggle around. She's just gonna watch for a moment to see if she actually has a plan or if she's just confused and struggling like the rest of us until something happens, and then he will.
On that specific note, this is when Pepper wakes up on the floor of this cart in a pool of blood where all the meat have dripped. So you would wake up to the sloshing, and I would need you to roll your panic dice, please. Because you know what the smell is. You know how much you hate it.
It's a 14.
Okay. I think that other than maybe throwing up, you are very dejected, but you also are bound and don't have any way to do anything but talk and maybe wiggle.
Yeah.
But you can wiggle yourself. You can wiggle yourself until you're sat up, is all I'm saying.
Right. I definitely think, the fact that I got a 14 is definitely surprising. Because I feel like she would be in full panic mode, and she probably wouldn't scream just because I feel like it'd be too close. Like nothing would come out, but like she would be screaming. But like I said, but it would be nothing coming out, and there was just huge motions, just like trying to wiggle to get away from like all the blood, and it's probably smearing along with her trying to wiggle, getting up, and she's just going to, like finally sit up and like look at everybody and breathing probably really heavily, and quickly, just.
At that, all the movement stops and it all like shakes, and you would hear the ogre turn in common and yell, "Just bring some of the chunks to them. They need to eat. It's been days." And you all are thrown just big, like hunks of wet, very, very boiled meat, and give me a Caramobola. Give me a investigation roll or a perception check.
It's an 18.
You're kind of looking at this thing. You don't like meat. You don't like it at all. It's like, but you're looking around and you can see slabs of things, and you can see different bones, and you know animals, and you know that you all are tied up inside of mooses, bones that have been used to make these makeshift things and the slabs of meat, and you realize that there are no other oxen around, and that's all that you're tied up into. And I think that when the meat hits, you get the idea that this is what they've done. And I think that although it might make you whatever, it would also make you upset. And I think that is where we'll end episode 1, as everybody gets stopped and thrown this. And thank you all for tuning in for episode 1, and we'll see you all next time for episode 2.